Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Natsu Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Inexpressive Kashiwada and Expressive Oota, Season 1, Episode 2. Another great episode. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So really quickly, I'm going to include time codes for this episode. Based on the way Crunchyroll has the title of the episode, it seems like it doesn't account for like the others. It does seem like this is a segmented episode. So kind of like what I do with other shows with multiple segments, I'll include time codes to each part of the episode. I'll be breaking these down one by one. I most recently did this with Ōta-kun, even though like on Crunchyroll, it's not labeled as multiple segments. It's just like one episode. But it seems like, I don't know if like with this show, if they're labeled individually, like kind of like most recent example, like Witch Watch, how like multiple segments are titled in the episode. I don't know if just this series won't do that going forward. So Crunchyroll has done it with other shows like this. These days, detectives are crazy. So the fact that they don't do it with this one, I think it's interesting. Maybe it's just this episode. Maybe it won't be like that going forward. But any future episodes that might have like multiple segments within them, or I feel like there are multiple segments, I'll delineate, like, jumping between them like this. So sorry for the long intro, but I just kind of wanted to clarify that ahead of time if you're curious at all. Either way, jumping into the first segment of the episode, it's about Kashiwada not being able to swim. Well, because Oota is like the best swimmer, gets the best time and everything. But I love that when it's time for Kashiwada to swim, because everyone's like, oh, either she doesn't know how to swim or she's probably like super good, because they're like, oh, look at that expression on her face, she's so calm. It's like, is that what that means? And then she gets in the water and it's like, oh, where is she? And then she's there just in the middle of the water and it's like, wait, is she drowning? Someone perform CPR, don't forget to do the heart massage. And the teacher's like, oh, are you not drowning? Because you look like you weren't. She's like, I was swimming. It's like, that's not what it looked like from the outside. Because from her perspective, it's like she's making like these little strides, the tiniest movements in the water. It looked like she might as well just been drowning, but that was her version of swimming. So because Oota is the best swimmer, he has to kind of start helping her, try to get her to make as much progress as possible before, like everyone kind of has to do a relay at the end of the class. And so he initially wants nothing to do with it because he's just like, it's too much of a bother. But the moment his friends are like, oh, we'll teach you instead, it's almost like he got a little jealous, like, no, I'll do it. But he tries to justify it by being like, I could use this to kind of mess with her. I'll get her to reveal her emotions. It's like, okay. So obviously you're going into this with not the best of intention, but there's also like, yeah, but you're also hiding your real intention, because it's like, you're probably like, I'm not going to dedicate any time to this. But the moment your friends decide they'll do it, you're like, well, no, I'll do it. They're like, oh, despite all his whining, he's actually pretty good. He's giving her good advice. Hey, don't move your legs so much. You need to, like, what was it, like certain things with her knee and stuff. But then he's like, good, she's comfortable. She's let down her guard. Now I'm going to let her hands go. And then she's going to start flailing like crazy. And I'm going to see her expression. And so he lets her go suddenly, but then she starts swimming like crazy. But it's like, actually, she is panicking, but it's not on her face. And I even love the thing says like, oh, she's drowning. And so she's reaching out and she grabs onto him. He's like, what are you doing? And now she starts pulling on his trunks and now stretching him. So it's like, ah, cool. That sucks. So now I got to go find another pair. But then while Kashiwada, even though her form is terrible, once again, I'm not judging her. I'm 33 and can't swim. Never bothered to learn to swim. Nearly drowned as a kid. It was a whole thing. But yeah, because of that, she is still making progress. Maybe not as fast as anyone else, and she's weird in her approach. But hey, it worked out. But then like the moment it seemed like Kashiwada might have been drowning, Oota immediately jumps to it. It's actually really sweet. He's like, hey, are you okay? It's like, you pretend like you don't care because once again you're just so embarrassed of like how expressive you are, and it's like, I don't like her, I don't have any feeling toward her, but it's like obviously you immediately came to her rescue this time when you thought like something might have happened to her. I guess there's also that like feeling responsible because like, hey, I taught her to swim, like, oh, like her not doing well is a fault of my own because like I was supposed to help her and I didn't do my due diligence, and that's on me. And then obviously everything kind of turns pear-shaped when it's like, oh, cool, your trunks fell off. And now it's like, you're underwater, but the water's a deep enough blue that maybe no one saw anything. Who knows what Kashiwada saw or whatever. So, yeah, that worked out. And so obviously his takeaway from it is like, damn it, Kashiwada. It's like, it's your own fault for, like caring about her, I guess, jumping into the water immediately afterwards, rather, focusing on your Trunks situation. And now moving into the second part of the episode, another great segment where we are introduced to Tabuchi, the class representative. And I think it's so interesting because it answers something I was bringing up last episode. I was like, from the outside, that's going to look like that Ota's bullying Kashiwada. And then all of a sudden, we have this segment of the episode being like, oh yeah, like Tabuchi's like, because it's like all you're doing is bothering her. It's like, I mean, he literally threw a grasshopper on the table just to make her scared. It did scare her, but no reaction. He used something to surprise her. Didn't react, but then like he puts on the mask at the end, and then like, oh, she's laughing. Like we could tell, like I said, just because they outline it a little bit more. But the fact is, I guess it's like it's such a subtle thing you can't quite tell. And my justification last episode was like, oh, maybe she does that because she doesn't want to seem expressionless and laughing because that seems weird, or maybe it's just like laughing would automatically make an expression so she can't like do both. So I don't know if she actually like holds back her laughter and that's what that animation is, or is that just kind of like no, that is just how I laugh because I can't express it even laughter wise. But either way, Tabuchi is calling Ōta out about like, oh, you're bullying. It's like, I'm not bullying her. It's like, yes, you're bothering her, and what if she doesn't come to school anymore? That's going to be on you. And even his friends are like, yeah, maybe you need to rein it in with like how much you're bothering her. And he tries it again. I love that Takabuchi's like, did you think I wasn't watching? What are you doing? And acts so wild. But then we find out it's not Ōta that she's watching. She kind of is, but her main target is Kashiwada, and they confront her about it. It's like, what is this whole thing about? What are you doing? She's like, well, fine, I'll admit it. I'm actually a fan of Kashiwada. It's like, a fan? And she's like, yes, because she's always found Kashiwada fascinating because she's like, I've studied her enough that I can see and recognize the little micro, like, expressions that she's making. It's like, ooh, so she forgot something, so she's panicking a little. I'm like, oh, can you actually tell the difference? And actually, that turns into a little bit of a beef between her and Ōta because it's like, that makes me better than you because the fact of the matter is I can tell the difference. And like for Ōta, it's like that bothers him because he's always trying to be able to read her and he never can, and he's going out of his way. And it was even something like, why are you so obsessed with her? And his friends are like, oh yeah, it's because he likes her. And he's like, shut up, it's not like that at all, even though it super clearly is. But Tabuchi is like kind of they seem to give her kind of tsundere vibes where she's like a number one, like, I'm her number one fan. It's like, oh my god, you're coming off like a psycho. And it's like, yeah, because like she's currently the only fan member of the Kashiwada fan club, so it seems even more psychotic. I think it will look crazy if there were multiple people, but it looks even crazier when you're the only one. I actually almost halfway expected Ōta to be like, all right, fine, let me join you and let me understand what her expressions are. I almost thought the storyline was going to go that way, but I'm like, why would Ōta ever submit? He never wants to admit when he's wrong or defeated, and he refuses to accept defeat, even though he was like in his mind defeated. But even his friends like, were they competing this entire time? Is that what this kind of turned into? But then, like, his friends find Kashiwada, and it's like, oh, she was, like, nearby. I guess, like, she was listening and didn't want to draw too much attention to herself that she was listening. And it's like, oh, wait, you heard everything? And it was kind of like, yeah, I did. And I love that she, like, turns to stone and everything. No, she turns to stone, and then, like, she gets dusted away. Because she says, like, because she's like, oh, I'm a fan. She's like, I'm not creepy or anything. I'm just, like, watching you from afar. And it's like, well, I don't want a fan. And it's like, oh, she shattered. She lost this. But then, like, Kashiwada's like, but I do want a friend. And you're like, oh, that's so sweet. And she ascends, and Ōta's like, oh, my God, she's been revived. It's something that got brought up last episode, and I discussed it too, that they had pointed out, like, Kashiwada is always by herself. She never really interacts with anyone. The only person she continually interacts with is Ōta, and now his friends as well. But it's like, I think she just has a hard time, people keep their distance because she doesn't express herself. They don't know what she's thinking. So for her, like, having Ōta around is kind of that nice thing of like, oh, cool, like, someone's interacting with me. Someone isn't, like, too afraid or intimidated to approach me because they can't tell what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking, which obviously that in itself has made Ōta so fascinating in her. Like, the thing that might bother and push other people away has only made him, like, double and triple, if not quadruple down on, like, trying to get something out of her. So, like, that weakness has turned into a strength into attracting him to her. But now Tabuchi is like, haha, we're friends now. You hear that? That makes you lower than an inset, because it's like, where do they stand in the grand scheme of things? It's like, yeah, because she doesn't want to be friends with you. But then, like, Kashiwada is like, I don't want to be friends with him. And then, Ōta and Tabuchi are both freaking out. They're like, oh, but what does that mean? Even though she claims to be able to read her expressions, which she can't, because she was saying something like, oh, like, look at Kashiwada. She was crying because you were bothering so much. I wasn't crying. It's like, yeah, she was upset or so. I forgot what the first one was, but it's kind of like, oh, like, she was upset or bothered, and it's like, no, she wasn't. So it's like, oh, okay, so, like, because Tabuchi is so, like, obsessed with her, she's reading way too much into things, thinking like, oh, I got it figured out. I know what she's thinking, what she's feeling. It's like, you actually don't. Maybe we'll find out you got like a, oh god, what's his face from Danganronpa 1. Yasuhiro from Danganronpa, his whole, like, clairvoyancy being, like, his percentage rate went at, like, 20%. He gets, like, get it, like, right 20% of the time, which is funny because that's connected to one of the alternate endings of the game. Tangents and all that aside, my point is, I'm wondering, like, is that going to be her batting average of, like, maybe 1 out of every 5 she's able to, like, guess right about what Kashiwada is thinking, or is it going to be like no, she's completely wrong, but she's deluded herself in believing that she can? I mean, because it has perked up her day. It's kind of, maybe she herself doesn't have many friends, and that kind of made her feel connected to someone in a way. So I don't know, like, what really spurred that on, and why that became the thing that kind of lights up your day and makes your day. Whatever the case may be. Some very interesting developments on that front, on all fronts rather. And now moving on to the third part of the episode, where we find out that Ōta always manages to get, like, the thing he always wants. In this particular case, it was like yakisoba bread, and he always manages to get what he wants. And we find out how he manages it is because before class is even over, he's pretty fast, but he also gets a head start. Before class even officially over and they're dismissed, he runs immediately to the lunch area to get whatever he wants. So, but we also learn from his, like, over the conversation, like, Kashiwada was overhearing that his parents never make him anything, so that's why, like, he never brings the lunch from home, because he's like, for one, he can't be bothered to make it, but also his parents don't make it either, so he's just kind of like, I'll just eat at school. And Kashiwada hear this, and you're immediately thinking, like, she must want to, like, make him something. And so, but she couldn't bring herself to say anything, so at the time it just looks like she's blocking him, and he's like, what are you doing? And he's trying to get by her, and she just keeps blocking his way. I love that, like, she made the excuse to go to the bathroom just in preparation for this. So just like he's trying to jump the gun, she tried to go about it at least a reasonable way of, like, cool, I'm gonna give myself some buffer time, but, like, because before lunch is announced, like, I'll wait outside and do this, because she probably wants to do it as far away from other people as we can see, because she's too embarrassed to do it in front of other people, because she doesn't want to draw attention to herself in that way. But essentially, I think it's funny because, like, she ended up not doing it, and so she just kept blocking him, so he didn't get what he wanted. So he got, they're like, his friends are like, we've never seen him deflated at lunch, but one of his friends is like, oh, cool, I got the greeting bread like I wanted. So it's like, oh, that was kind of, screwed over. And I love that Ōta's immediate takeaway was, obviously she's getting back at me for all the times I've messed with her. Okay, fine, I got something for her. And so next time, like, he's like, like, next day he runs out of class. He's like, I'm ready for you this time. I knew you'd be here. And he's like, okay, so what are you doing? And she's just kind of like, listen. And I thought, like, the bit was going to go on longer. I thought it'd be days of this, but it turns out this day she gets prepared and she turns around. She's looking around, making sure no one's there. He's like, wait, is she trying to confuse me with weird moves? But she's like, here, I made you this lunch. It's like, I tried to offer it yesterday, but like, I couldn't bring myself to admit it, but here. And he's like, oh, you did? And then the others run by while she's presenting it. And then his friend is like, oh, if he doesn't want it, I'll take it. Because he's like, oh, it probably doesn't taste good. But immediately he snatches it back. Like, yo, don't take my lunch from me. It's like, oh, I guess he will actually eat it. But then it turned out not to really be anything too special. Because I think she doesn't really know how to make anything. But obviously, it's the thought that counts at the end of the day. And obviously, she walked away being very pleased. Like, oh, he says all that, but he'll eat it. And he'll gladly eat it, So it's a small victory for Kashiwada. So I'm curious to see like if that continues at all. Probably not, but I'm also, especially with the introduction of Tabuchi, like, and she does keep an eye on Kashiwada from afar, but now that they're friends, maybe she doesn't do that anymore. We'll have to wait and explore that more in the future to see if that is, even future elements of this episode, or just in future episodes in general, whether or not she still continues to watch her. But I'm like, I figured that would probably be an issue, because I'm sure Tabuchi would be like, where's mine? If only like she would like offer me to make me food and stuff like that, because Tabuchi would like die and go to heaven and come back if that was the case, So just a funny little, just really cute segment, And now moving on to the fourth and final part of the episode, where Oda has stepped up his attempts to try and get a rise out of Kashiwada. So it's like, okay, I'm going to surprise her with like the Jack-in-the-Box thing, and then I'm going to surprise her with a pincer attack from the side. He's like, I've never done this before. I've never tried a like multi angled attack. But it fails on both fronts, because the moment the Jack-in-the-Box doesn't work, she turns the airplane paper airplane he made, didn't even make it to her. So it's like, cool, that fell apart immediately. And then Tabuchi walks over and just steps on it. So it's like, cool, your attempts failed all around. But then Oda sees these hairbands on the table and assumes they're hers. He's like, oh, cool, since they look like there's a special design on them, they must be expensive. I'll hold them out the window. It's like, oh, I'll drop these if I'm not careful. And then the wind is strong. It ends up sucking them out of his hand. And you're like, oh, well, that sucks. That's kind of a very dick move on your part. Obviously, it wasn't on purpose. But then they cut to Kashiwada, and tears are in her eyes. The moment that happened, I paused the episode. I was like, it's not real. It's most likely some wind got to her eyes, and they started watering. Ultimately ends up being that. We'll get to that second. But I was like, that's what this is. It's going to be a complete and utter misunderstanding. But everyone, like, including Oda's friends, him, Tabuchi, are all like, oh my God, she's crying. It's like, now, like, Oda's like, feels extremely bad, because like, I never expected her to cry. I didn't know. And then Tabuchi's like, well, she got them from her grandmother. They're probably like some kind of heirloom or something. And now like Oda feels even worse about it, because it's like, right, not only was it something important to you, because it's also like cherished item given to you by someone that you cared about that's no longer with you. It's like, I'm a scumbag. And so it's like, he decides to go out, and everyone's like, oh, did he go to apologize? And Tabuchi's takeaway was, oh, I wondered, but when Kashiwada immediately comes back in, and they're like, oh, did you see Oda? And they're like, no, because they thought, oh, maybe he went to apologize. Tabuchi's takeaway is, well, maybe he went to go, pray at a temple or something, become purified. It's like, well, that's so random. And it's like, and then his buddy's takeaway was, oh, maybe he felt so awkward about it, he went home. It's like, that's even more like messed up to do that. But when they're leaving school, they see him outside looking for the hairband, and they're like, oh, what do you, he's like, no, I'm not looking for that. I dropped my phone. They're like, all right, fine, we'll help out. Which even his friend like, wait, I'm included in that too? So all three of them were working together searching for it. And it seems like, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, because like, who knows where it got blown to and stuff like that. But luckily it landed in the front gate of the school and was found and lost, and someone had taken it to Lost and Found. And obviously it's a little dirty, but Oda makes his way over to Kashiwada's place. I didn't know if he was going to like give it to her like the next day, but I think he wanted to return it to her immediately. I was also thinking, I was like, oh, I wonder, did he probably didn't know where she lived. Maybe the others did, or maybe they asked the teacher, but they showed up at her place, and he returns the hairband, but because it was dirty, he went and bought her a new one as well. But then we find out her grandmother is perfectly alive. Also, that hairband isn't anything special. It's a very cheap one she bought from like a 100 yen store. I mean, obviously it's less than, but it's like the equivalency of like the dollar store. And she's like, oh, I'm surprised you even still have those. And so it's like, cool, Tabuchi is the one who put so much onus on it. Like, yes, it did come from her grandmother, but it wasn't anything special. For one, it's not an heirloom like her grandmother's dead. Like, I don't know if like Tabuchi like spun it in that regard because she was under the impression Kashiwada, her grandmother, was dead, or whether she knew Kashiwada's grandmother was alive, but just used the term heirloom, even though people would think if something's an heirloom, it means it's from someone who's passed, because that's typically the association with it. So yeah, this was all a misunderstanding created by Tabuchi, but at the same time, it's like, well, Kashiwada, if he hadn't tried to get a rise out of, sorry, I keep doing that. Oh, if Oda hadn't tried to get a rise out of Kashiwada, wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. And I love that his friends were nearby, because I guess they wanted to see, like, all right, like, how's this going to go down? Is she going to forgive him? But it's like, yeah, there was nothing to forgive. It's okay. But something beautiful did come out of it, because at the end of the day, like, for Kashiwada, it's like, I'm going to cherish this. The fact is, you went out of where you buy it. Now he's embarrassed because he went through all this for something that wasn't important, and now he ended up kind of technically giving her a gift out of nowhere, plus on top of returning the one that was already lost. So like, there's even more beautiful sentimentality to it. I even love, like, in the outro, like, that's like, you could see at one point, like in the ending of the episode, like you could see like she's laying down or whatever, and like there's that one of the hairbands. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. And her grandmother was like, oh, do you want to stay here and dry off? But he was so embarrassed he ran away. So, and then it's like, and then the episode has the most effed up ending when we cut to Tabuchi. She's out there looking too. I'm like, oh god, that's actually so messed up. But it's like, because it's like, hey, this is her new dear friend, so obviously she wants to help her out, because she's still under the impression of how important it is. So, you know, so that's why I'm like, they're both, it's on, once again, Oda kind of screwed everyone over in this episode in that regard. And it's like, I wonder how long is it going to be before, because none of them know Tabuchi's out there looking for it. So I'm wondering, will she eventually come to Kashiwada and be like, Kashiwada, to be like, I'm sorry, I couldn't find it. It's like, oh no, Oda brought it to me, which is going to make her probably feel pissed, because it's like, no, it should have been me, type of thing. So a lot of hilarity involved in that situation. But like I said, kind of cute resolution for Oda and Kashiwada. For the Tabuchi stuff, like I said, I think that's actually, like I said, that's sad and effed up to end the episode in that way. And then finally, we also have the post credits where they're like, oh, well, if we want to understand Kashiwada's expressions, we should use the context. It's like, oh, this background means she's happy, this background means she's dark, and then they show the background with like the multiple emotions of going between happy and bad. It's like, even the background's confused, it doesn't know what to make of it. So I love that, just kind of like a fourth wall breaking bit at the end there. But yeah, like I said, just another great cute fun episode all the way throughout. So I'm excited to see what the next episode has in store for us. Like I brought up at the beginning, I'm curious to see if the next episodes are as segmented out exclusively like that. I'm curious to see what I'm going to do about I might just take the titles from the episodes themselves, like inside the confines of the episode. I'm going to see if anywhere else has them labeled out by their segments, or is it just like one episode title, just like basically just taking the title from the first part of the episode, like Crunchyroll. I wonder, it's like, is it labeled like that everywhere else too? It's kind of a moot point, doesn't really matter, but either way. But I've yammered on enough. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.